Greetings, Hacksters! Today we are talking to Odd Jayy, a tinker who builds all kinds of cool companion robots. What's up, Odd Jayy?
Hey everyone.
How are you doing?
I am good. I am very, very good. A bit tired.
Yeah, I imagine. Who's this you have with you?
This is Dexter. This is my current and newest companion bot.
So how would you describe a companion robot, which is becoming a phenomenon?
I know, right? Personally, how I describe a companion bot is any robot that you consider a friend and can take with you.
Cool. And how does Dexter come with you?
I can attach him to my backpack and he can literally just hang out behind me
That's
and look over
awesome.
my shoulder and judge people.
So I know that you've had issues before with figuring out, like I've had these issues as well, like attaching the robot to yourself is one of the hardest things to figure out. And you recently made a sort of upgrade to that system for Dexter. What did you do?
I actually ended up changing the strap on him because before his strap was actually attached to his like mid stomach area.
Uh-huh.
So I moved that up a bit to the higher part of his chest. And I've also added magnets to his hands and kind of to his feet that actually hook onto my bag. So he looks like he's more stable on my bag and he actually can move around a lot better without worrying about him falling over.
Oh, brilliant. So the magnets for stabilization seems to really help.
But yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. There's multiple ways you can definitely wear a wearable, but it's just figuring out the way. And I've noticed a few different things when it comes to it. It's definitely thinking about like size, because Dexter's pretty huge. Like, I can't really
Yeah,
tell this guy's pretty big.
haha.
This is my head. This is the robot. Um, and thanks to his size, I have to wear him on my back because I'm not sure if you remember this, and I have pictures like on my Twitter and stuff too. Originally, I was trying to design him to be worn on my shoulder. He was just too big to be worn on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So what does it look like now when you wear him? I've got this tutorial of yours pulled up. Does he basically hang on like this, or is this the previous design with the shoulder?
That's the old design, but it still
Uh-huh.
fits like that now, but it just
Oh,
fits a little bit better.
cool. I see that you had this controller with the Adafruit Edge badge. Was that connected to Dexter, or was it like a separate thing?
It's a separate thing. It just had my name on it, say hi.
Cool.
It kind of fixed all those like problems I had with talking to people.
It's a nice little 3D printed case.
Yeah, I got all that off of Thingiverse, and I was just like, And as you know, I'm not very good at programming, so I had to like figure out half of that.
It's rad. We're always learning. I love how cool he looks. He looks like he's wearing shades. And what is the eye system you have in there?
It's called the Kimian, I believe, the Kimian visor. I
Oh,
got it off of Amazon, and there's many videos from cosplayers on how to hack it. So I
oh,
hacked
cool.
it and use it for his eye display. I actually really like it because he can do a lot more emotes with it, and it's not powered by the same thing that powers his servos. So I don't have to really, if his servos like die out from not being charged or not having enough
Oh
power, his
yeah.
eyes still works and it still looks cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really nice to have kind of a backup where like it can still interact with people even if, in a way that kind of takes less power. You've got this linked in your tutorial here.
Yep.
What all else can Dexter do?
Dexter can do many different things. The current version of him I have now, which I have up on my tutorial right now, is just moving the basic servos and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But the cool thing about Dexter and the cool thing about his size as well is that you can integrate so many different things in him. Like an example, I used a Adafruit Playground Express, and I had a touch sensor in him
Oh,
before,
that's so
so
great.
people could like touch his face and he'll give you a high five.
Ha!
And I had a Adafruit trinket with a whole bunch of LEDs, which you see in like the previous videos where he would just light up.
Yeah.
So there's like so much integration you can do with them. And even, I'm not sure if my camera will show it actually, because the back of his head, I have like little switches
Oh,
that are like tiny.
wow.
Yeah, that way I know what to turn on and what can be like turned on inside of them.
That's great. And how are you powering these? Are you powering them all separately, or do you have one big power bank and they're all like USB'd in, or what?
Currently, the eyes are being controlled by two AA batteries. This is why this is my favorite like eye thing ever because it's so easy to power.
Yeah, you
But
just throw in some new batteries. That's great.
yeah, the servos actually are being powered by Adafruit Pro Trinket, a power booster, and a 3.7 lithium ion battery.
Ah,
I
cool.
even upgraded the back recently, and now I have like the plug back there, so
Ah, cool.
you can
So you
like
can just
easily
charge it.
charge them. Yeah,
That's rad. What's your favorite? What do you like to use to boost the power from the 3.7 volt LiPo to the 5 volts for the servos? I'm assuming they're 5 volts.
Yeah. I forgot the exact number of it. I have to like look again or look at my
Sure,
tutorial.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's there. But that was just like the one I ended up getting from a friend, and I've just been using continuously. Like I have a few of them now, and every time I'm just like, oh, there's not enough power. Well, that can be fixed easily. Let me just
That's
add
cool.
a power booster. Plus, the power booster is really good too because thanks to the ability of having a switch on it, you can just turn it off instantly, which I kind of love.
Oh, that's great. People don't really think about on-off switches when they're designing this stuff, but it's so useful when you're making something, especially something wearable.
Oh yeah, I was watching your talk with Sophie before, and that's what gave me the idea. Because when Sophie said you don't want to, bring the attention to yourself if you're like at somebody's talk, and you don't want to sit there and be glowing. And I love Dexter and things like that, but his servos do get kind of loud
Oh
sometimes, and
yeah.
I'm like, oh, we should be quiet right now. Let me just hit that switch really quickly. But I'll keep his eyes on for he can seem like he's paying attention.
Yeah, especially when you're using lipos, like just having to like pull those out with your fingernails every time, it's such a pain. Like literally a pain.
Yeah, I love light bulbs, and I have a lot now, but Uh, I think I love them because of the fact they're so rechargeable. Like that just
Yeah.
makes it so much like easier to use. So as long as I can keep using them over and over again, they're like my go-to battery.
So you've built a number of these bots by now. And what kinds of things have you learned in the other ones that you applied to Dexter? Or from earlier versions of Dexter?
Dexter was interesting for the fact that he's a 4 month project. Like he's gone through so many different versions of himself since his first concept. Um, but I've learned multiple different things. I learned what type of movement that can actually a servo can handle compared to using a plastic servo and a metal servo. I learned about more designs because originally Dexter's ears didn't move. That wasn't a design thing I had. Instead, I had tried to make his tail move, but the issue with that is when you're walking, like someone's walking behind you, they don't like to be tail slapped. So
I imagine not.
So I've learned to be like, that's not the best. It's not the best thing I should probably use. So I decided to give it more of a character type of thing. I guess the best example, or at least definitely what helps inspire me, was I was watching Disney's Plus show, Imagineers,
Hmm.
and it shows this like cool process of creating characters. And I was just like, oh, if his ears move, it gives him so much more personality than just having his tail wag back and forth. So now
Totally.
his ears are moved on two different servos too, so like he always gives like weird expressions with it.
Whoa, I just found that part in your tutorial here where you've got the two sort of, oh no, this is one servo right here, sort of hooked up in a
Yeah,
linkage. Whoa, I love how you did that.
it's a fun technique. And when it works, I was so happy. I was just like, oh, his ears moves now. He looks so adorable and goofy.
I love seeing these sort of disembodied like parts that sort of remind you when you see it all together it really feels like a coherent character, which I think is part of your brilliance as a designer. And then just seeing it as sort of part of it on a desk really reminds you of how it's actually an automaton kind of thing. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, the fun thing about it is this weekend I'm giving a talk at SparkleCon about my design concept, how I try to go from drawing to the finished product. But mostly, I'm definitely going to try to push more. Is I always tell people, like I have my work up to inspire people, but if I could, I would say don't copy me, make your own. Like come
Yeah.
up with an idea, design. It could be any type of creature, any type of animal. It can be, I don't know, a giant blob for all I care. But
Yeah, we've started to see like Angela Sheehan making like a little dragon. We've
oh
seen
yeah,
Nick Poole making his little turret guy. We've seen Barb Noren making an octopus.
hmm
Mohib started making a squirrel. All
which
kinds of
I
different ways to express yourself. I've of course got the owls, but I'm working on a couple other ones. Ooh. And building something as huge and multifaceted and well designed as this takes so much effort. How do you maintain your focus and maintain your momentum with this project? I think it's a challenge we both face.
oh man. That's kind of hard. I don't know. I'm very obsessive. I think I believe Adam Savage said this that he obsesses over his work to the point that's the only thing that's on his mind. that's kind of how I work. So I try to do something every day, even if it's very small. Like right now, I have parts printing for another robot, and those parts are a 10-hour print. So
Wow.
I'm even at work, I'm still doing something.
But
And I
yeah, that
always
can
try,
kind of run while you're at work or working on other stuff.
yeah, and I always try to give myself like small goals. Like let's say when I was first working on Dexter and I was trying to get his ears to move, it was a 2 day process because I couldn't think of. I tried to go above and beyond, like, oh, I'm going to 3D print this cool like round circle, and that would like move the ears up and down in a certain
Mhm.
way. And it took me an entire day to realize that I'm being too complicated. Like, it does not have to be this complicated. And go for this and went for the servo arms, but it's definitely those small little niches that help. And also the internet's a great community. Like I love posting stuff and hearing people be like, "Oh, look,
Yeah.
it's coming alive. It's so cool." And I'm like, "Yay, thank you. You like my work."
The positive feedback is so good.
Yeah.
And people really do love it. Another cool thing that I noticed is that you're integrating, for example, the glasses there add a lot of personality with not a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it doesn't look like it's stuck on. It looks like it's really an integrated part, which I think is just like totally brilliant.
Oh yeah, if you recall, this was like a last minute idea.
Yeah.
Just because I was just like, I have this, I want it to look cooler, and even this top plate. That's why I do tell a lot of people who follow my designs, be prepared to print a lot,
Mm.
because his head is in 3 different parts. I'm not really sure you can probably see
Oh
that
yeah.
right here, here, and back. And this front plate by itself took me 10 hours, and I printed that face down. So
And you've kind of
yeah,
incorporated what almost looks like support material into the actual
yeah.
final design.
I was going to take the support material off, but I left it on because I thought it looked cool, so I left it on.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks weird when it comes off now. I'm just like, oh, that looks ugly. I don't like it.
That serendipity is, and embracing that, I think, is part of being an artist.
Yeah, you have to be happy with happy accidents.
Yeah. Um, what other challenges did you run into on this one? You've mentioned that the ears were a really big challenge to design. You also have these really intricate hands on him. Are you
Oh
sticking
yeah.
with those? How was it designing those?
These were completely luck. I had some old files of like hands that I was trying to play around with back in the day. This one has magnets on it, so that's why it looks really weird.
Cool.
But
I have some
originally, I
friends who have
was.
magnets in their fingers.
It's really useful. I usually, if he's just sitting on my desk, I'll make him hold like a pen or something, or one of my screwdrivers. But the hands are printed in one go, which is really useful. Originally, I got the idea from trolling around the internet, and I was practicing CADing because I do a lot of CADing now. So during my practice, I came up with this basic hand design, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than the original one." Where, if you remember the old one, he only had like circles for fingers, like
Yeah.
little nubs. And I was planning to attach something to those hands, but I was just like, it's not gonna work. It doesn't look good. Kept running into many different issues when it comes to that. And when it comes to the design process in general, from my opinion, you're going to change a lot of the design as you go, because you're going to see so many things that work and then don't work. Because what works on a piece of paper does not work practically in real life.
Mm.
And finding that out is always both frustrating and interesting. So it's a lot of problem solving in the middle there. So
So
it's,
if you were to change something about these hands right now, what would you do?
if I was to change something,
Hmm. Or about any part of
mm,
the robot, what do you think would be your next focus?
my next focus currently, working on like I'm working on 4 different robots right now.
Yeah, you tend to make lots of robots, and you also make multiple versions of them. Like you're one of the people who like really iterates on your ideas and
Mm.
really refines them. So I'm sure that you have some ideas of what you want to do next.
Yeah, I mean, I have his sister. I'm actually building his sister right now that I
Uh-huh.
call Talia, and she's a bunny. She has little flappy bunny
I
ears.
was thinking of building a bunny, but now I gotta watch. We didn't like see yours come out.
Yeah, I thought you saw the video earlier, but yeah,
Did I?
I only
Oh man. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Floppy
That's
little
probably
bunny.
where I got the idea.
But yeah, I was designing a bunny sister for him just because I think it would be really adorable. What I do want to upgrade on him is I really want to upgrade his legs, because I noticed by accident he can actually stand up sometimes. His legs are like little ball joints as well with little
Oh wow,
hands
yeah.
on them. Um, sometimes I can just stand him up and he'll just stand up by himself. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you can stand. So I think if I actually use a turning system, I can probably make it for him to like walk a bit. And I kind of want to see how that would be.
That'd be super cool. So you could like have him on you and then like detach him and have him walk around.
Yeah, I think if I were to make him walk around, I would probably change the palm of his hands a bit and actually
Mm.
make a little wheel here. That way he can
Mm.
outstretch his hands in front of him while he like walks and like push himself.
That'd be so cool. You mentioned that you're kind of a CAD wizard now. What is your favorite software to use? Are you like a Fusion guy? Do you
I'm
like
a fusion
Solid?
guy.
Ah,
Literally, just because I got it when I was in school and it was free, and it was like my first thing I learned. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just use this. Totally
that's
fine.
legit. If it does what you want it to do.
Yeah, I mean, it is sometimes a bit difficult because it's a lot easier shaping things in your head compared to having to sit down and figure out how to do what you did in your head on the computer.
Yeah.
And that's always such an effort. So there is like days where I would like, even I would count that too as motivation as well. There are days where I would be like, okay, today I would just get this CAD file done and get it set ready for printing tomorrow. That's no electronics, no wiring. There's one simple thing. And then after that, I can go to bed or do whatever I plan to do.
I mean, yeah, even just getting that is like sounds pretty huge a lot of the time. Like that can take me multiple days. That can take me weeks to like finish one CAD file just because it's life is distracting and stuff. So that's
Life
badass.
happens. Find something. I do have some more ideas I am playing with right now. I'm hoping tonight to work more on my dragon.
Yeah.
Making a little steampunk dragon. I finally fixed some errors on them, and I'm finally getting back to it. So I'm hoping I can get that done tonight.
Awesome.
It shouldn't take me long. I'm using, of course, the Adafruit Cricket, the robot controller one.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's super easy to use. It's super fun. And
Which version of Cricut are you using?
I'm using the one that works with Playground Express.
Yeah. Oh, I just got one of those. I'm messing around with it. They are badass, but mine is like more of a like standard rolling robot, not really a companion. But
I need
it's
to
really
really,
fun to work with.
I really want to make a rolling robot later down the line, but I want it to be big. So like
Yeah.
R2D2 like size maybe. So I have to like wait. I have no room to build something that big right now.
Oh yeah, that's a challenge.
Storing everything after I build them is always an issue.
You have a really good shelving system in your house, it seems like, where you keep your robots. Mine are always just kind of shoved in boxes.
I have one shelf for the finished stuff that I can come back to later, but like the shelf above my desk has like all my unfinished work, and it's like I have Aussie V3 up there, I have a sister up there, I have Widget the dragon up there,
Uh-huh.
I have so many other
Widget!
like parts.
Oh, that's great!
Oh yeah, his name is Widget. His name is Little Dragon. I'm
Brilliant.
also thinking of different ways you can actually wear your robots, because so far we've mastered our shoulder and technically the back with this guy. So I'm trying to think of like maybe wearable like wearable bracelets, hats, something like that. Maybe one that's like an upgraded shoe or something. I don't know.
Ah, yeah, my friend Nick has one that like pops out of a top hat.
Yeah, I saw that. We saw that at
Maker
Maker
Faire.
Faire in
Yeah,
San
yeah,
Francisco. It was super cool and adorable. He also has a monkey. Yeah, monkeys are popular.
yeah. There seem to be some trends so far. There's like a couple of octopi.
Yeah,
I
there's a
think
couple.
rabbits are a great idea. Maybe someday I'll make one, but I'm excited to see yours first.
I'm excited to see everyone's work. I really love, especially what Angela did with hers. I love it so much. I love that she used clay and all these different materials. Like
Mm.
one thing about these design robots, at least I fail to do often, is remember that there's other materials I can use to make this robot. And Angela reminded me of that because she used like clay, she used fabric, and she had this like wonderful idea with it. And I fail at that sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I'll just 3D print that. I'll just 3D print that. When it could easily be like, oh, you can just clay that instead. Or, oh, you can use acrylic instead. Or, oh, you can use maybe like a wood beam or like a pipe from like Home Depot instead.
Right. I mean, everyone's got their skill sets too. Like maybe for you, it makes sense to use this, although branching out is cool. There's this guy called Michael McCool who has like one that looks like a little cat demon thing. And originally it was supposed to have like a fabric cat skin on it, but it ended up just looking really weird. And that seems like such a huge challenge, is like making the fabric parts actually look good. And she did an amazing job of that. So
I mean, her fairy costume is amazing as well. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
she's such a fabric artist, and
yeah,
like
like
the wings and
I can sew a hole in my pants. That's pretty much as far as I'm getting.
Yeah, I can do some like basic tailoring, but and I can make like arm warmers, but a robot's another thing. I'm trying to make a sock puppet robot though.
I think I remember you telling me about that not too long ago.
Oh yeah, I'm finally making it. It's finally happening. That's what I'm using the Cricut for.
Ooh, nice.
Roll around and stuff. But yeah, back to you. You were talking about using Fusion 360,
Mhm.
and one of the cool things about that in particular is that they've integrated it with Eagle for PCB design. I was wondering if you ever think about like making your own PCBs to go with your robots, or if you're happy using off-the-shelf materials.
A little bit of both. And Adafruit, if you're watching this, I love you. Adafruit gives me a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, and I feel really bad for the fact that they give me this stuff and I get to play with it. I learn from it, but hardly like I have a whole bunch of ideas I just don't publish. Like if you follow me on Twitter or even my Instagram, they're like bots that just, in my opinion, didn't make the cut. So, but I learned a lot from like Adafruit. Like all my main circuits are always Adafruit products at this point. But I have thought about getting into EcoCAD in design as well, but I think that might be for a future project because I do want to make an easier, I won't say robotics board, but just simple animatronic servo moving board. You can just plug in and it'll just move by itself without having to worry about coding or anything, just plug and play.
Nice.
But I do love using off the shelf type of stuff just for the fact that it's easier to teach people and inspire people because it's not like a special product or a special thing. It's just like, oh, I use this, and this. Oh, I can go buy this, and this and do it myself. And I also learned that way as well. So I kind of want to keep, giving back to the community that's given me so much in that way.
That's so cool. Yeah, that actually sounds like a really amazing idea for a board. I'm picturing something in my head that would have like four servos attached, and maybe one of them is like, or four servo like ports, and maybe one of them is programmed to like wag back and forth, and one of them is designed to like do some other kind of motion, and you just like decide which one you want to control, which part of your robot and whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you just label it and plug it up, and then there you go. I feel like that would be like a really simple, quick, easy for stuff like Dexter here or something
That'd be
else like that.
amazing.
Yeah, just an idea I've been playing with. I do plan to get an EagleCAD, but there's still so much. 2020 just started, and I'm still like three robots in. So I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to learn other skills too.
You got a
But
lot on your plate. I think you're always so active and sharing so much. It's fantastic. Like it really helps. Like you're such an active member of the community. It's amazing.
I try to. I mean, I do get like messages in my DM, and they're like people like, "Oh, this is so cool! Thanks for inspiring me." I'm like, "Cool." I feel really bad sometimes when people come asking me for like help, which is I've noticed is always programming help, and I'm just like, "I'm a bad programmer. Sorry."
Yeah, but you help in so many other ways, and you do like. I think maybe as people who don't do a ton of programming, like we tend to stick more to more simple stuff that is really easy for other people to tweak and understand and stuff. It's its own kind of.
We can't.
So people can follow you on the internet
Yes.
at we'll put the links in the description of this video, but of course on Twitter you are odd_Jayy with two Y's. Same thing, and here's Dexter. Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then same thing over here on Instagram. People can follow you, check out all the new cool stuff you're doing. Look at this little three-eye guy. That's so cool.
That's Aussie V7.
Oh wow. So is this
That's
gonna have little spider legs, or are those little nubbins gonna be?
they're gonna have spider legs. I'm working on finding a way to make him balance on my shoulder by itself by using an accelerometer.
Ooh,
But
cool.
I may have bit off a bit more than I can chew, and if so, he might just crawl around. So
Well, that sounds awesome.
yeah, it's been a fun time figuring things out.
Can't wait to see. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Nope.
Anything you want to throw in before we wrap up?
No, I think hack on.
Hack on! Yeah, sweet. We'll see you next time, Jay.
Yeah, laters.